It looks like our fears of World War III are finally starting to get realized as Russia is sending thousands of troops into Belarus, preparing for another country to invade into Ukraine. My name is Tom. I'm reporting with the Daily Bellwave. If it's your first time here today, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the latest breaking news. So far in Ukraine, we've got Russia with tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of troops and tanks and missiles and all these weird new gadgets that they're testing out. And you've got Ukraine, who's received $16 billion in aid just from the United States alone. And you've got all of NATO pumping in arms and armaments to help Ukraine defeat Russia. But now we've got Belarus set to invade, but on top of that, we've got Iranian military counselors in Ukraine right now teaching the Russians exactly how to use all of the attack killer drones that the Iranians have given to them. In addition to all of that, we've got China, who is backing up Russia 100% after Biden and the administrations around the world took Russia and China off the SWIFT banking system. Russia and China went ahead and made their own banking system so they can trade in different currencies to get oil and different products over there. Now we've got China, who's set to invade in Taiwan after a crazy speech just came out from Xi Jinping regarding his intention to invade the island country. I want you guys to go ahead and check out one of the other videos that we had for that regarding his speech and what that means for the world. But today we're discussing the Russian troops in Belarus, and we're reporting with Euronews.com. It says fears of joint attack on Ukraine as more Russian troops arrive in Belarus. It says, my apologies on that. It says more Russian troops have arrived in Belarus for military training, prompting anxiety in Ukraine. Some 9,000 Russian soldiers are expected to be stationed in Belarus for what is officially described as exercises. Yeah, we know how those go. It says, but the troop movement, which began on Saturday, has prompted speculation in the West that the maneuvers could be in preparation for a new attack on Ukraine. The last time Belarusian and Russian forces held joint exercises was in February. Many of those Russian forces went on to cross the Ukrainian border in their ill-fated push to capture Kyiv. The exercises were announced last week by Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, sorry I butchered that, said his country and Russia would form a joint regional force. Ukraine and Belarus share a large 1,000-kilometer-long border, which is largely wooded and unpopulated. Concerns have been raised that there could be a mobilization of Belarusian reservists, although senior military officials in Belarus have dismissed this. It's somebody tweeted on Twitter that I can't pronounce the name. If you guys can read it on there, see me get a little bit bigger here. Yep, so it says Belarus is occupied. As more Russian soldiers arriving in our country against the will of the people, we must speak clearly. We are fighting against two dictators, Putin and Lukashenko. It is our fight, but we need your support, and we will continue to fight for the freedom of Ukraine. It says, all the fake information that is now published in various internet channels is not reliable. There is no reason to worry about it, claimed Alexander Shalpuk, a senior Belarusian officer responsible for mobilization. Seems like a propagandist to me. It says citizens will be summoned to the military commissariat and their data will be noted, and they will depart to their place of work or place of residence. Mobilization in the Republic of Belarus is not being carried out. The Belarusian opposition leader in exile said it would be a big mistake for the Minsk to follow in the Kremlin's footsteps and announce a national draft. Neither the Belarusians nor the Belarusian army support this war, claims Silvalanta, I can't pronounce that name. I doubt that Belarusian soldiers will participate in this call. They are not motivated in any way, and in fact, they are not so well equipped. But Ukraine is not taking any chances. If Ukraine's long border with Belarus became a new line of attack, it could put pressure on the country's military forces, particularly as the first stage of Russia's offensive was launched from Belarusian soil. Ukraine has reinforced its defenses along the border with special forces who are currently training to counter any move by a possible joint Russian-Belarusian operation. You know, every day it seems like there's new words coming out or new stories or new news, something that's happening that is just speaking about a Russian aggression and Russian advances. And rightly so. I think the globalists are just trying to push us into a war. I mean, if you look at historically, you know, the world is about to go into one of the biggest recessions, one of the biggest depressions we've seen in forever. And one of the only ways to get out of a recession is war. Look at World War I, especially World War II. The Great Depression was going on in the 1930s, and it really brought us out of that by spending money negating a ton of the debt that was out there because we owed a bunch of money to a lot of European countries that just didn't exist anymore. Pretty crazy how that worked out, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that Russia's going to invade through Belarus? Do you think Belarus will be the ones to launch a nuke at Ukraine? Let me know. God bless America.